Tonight on GamePoints 383, T-Pain is in Grand Theft Auto 6, Take-Two targets Remedy over its logo, and AI is starting to creep into more and more video games. All that and more in just a moment, but first I want everyone here to know this is an audience interactive podcast, so feel free to join in with your questions, comments, concerns, etc. I want to know what you guys think out there, and of course, if you like what you see here, you know what every one of these streamers and YouTubers wants. Alright, let's go ahead and go into the very first story here via IGN. The link to this and all the topics we will be talking about are down below. I recommend you go read them yourselves. Headline from IGN. T-Pain confirms he's working on GTA 6, says he can't roleplay in GTA 5 anymore as a result. No, I'm not bringing this story up because it's specifically T-Pain or because he roleplays. We'll get into exactly why I want to talk about this in a second. But let's go ahead and get into the meat of the article first. Okay, take a look at chat here. Who is T-Pain? He is a singer-songwriter rapper. I'm not that familiar with him myself, as I take a drink of water live on stream, but he is very popular from what I understand. I am so disconnected from that part of the world, it's not even funny. But like I said, it is not specifically who is in it as much as what this might imply for other things. To the article itself. Fahim Rashid Najim, forgive me if I mispronounce that name, better known as singer-songwriter T-Pain, is living the dream. He gets to work on Grand Theft Auto 6 alongside Rockstar Games. However, it seems like T-Pain's new job is having unintended consequences. In a live stream clip circulated on social media, T-Pain confirmed that he's contributing to Rockstar's anticipated sequel, which is finally revealed in 2023. In the course of bringing T-Pain aboard, though, it seems Rockstar has requested he stop role-playing on NoPixel, a popular GTA 5 roleplay server that runs on third-party servers. 1 second, I'm going to cough. No edits, all live. At least one fan noticed that T-Pain was no longer on the server and asked what happened. And here's his response there. I used to be on NoPixel, then I started working on GTA 6 and they told me I couldn't do RP anymore because it kind of goes against... They had this whole speech like, what if somebody took your album, re-recorded it, and more people were listening to that? And I'm like, okay, I kind of get that, but I was having a good time, and that's alright, fine, T-Pain said. So here's the thing. Now, him being in Grand Theft Auto 6 could mean any number of things, but if it was just going to be his music, because you can imagine they're going to have a banging licensed soundtrack to this game, they always do, that he would still be allowed to roleplay using his voice. There's a good chance he's going to be a character in Grand Theft Auto 6, though. However, the question is, there's a couple of them, actually. One, is he going to play himself, or is he going to play someone else? Is he going to play a fictitious character? It wouldn't be the first time Grand Theft Auto has included musical artists in their games before. Phil Collins most famously showed up in Vice City Stories and the missions Kill Phil and Kill Phil 2 as himself. He was, and there was an entire scene where you get to see like In the Air Tonight played in the Grand Theft Auto engine. It was very entertaining for me. Is T-Pain going to be in here in that kind of regard? Or is he going to be as some random friend of the main character or an antagonist? Who knows? The bigger question I have is, who else is going to be in Grand Theft Auto 6? Because I highly doubt he is the only famous celebrity that is going to be in this game in any way, shape, and form. In fact, I would imagine that people would be climbing over themselves to get into this game. I even doubt they'd be having to get paid for it, because the profile of Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be so huge that you'll be an idiot not to be part of this game. I don't care how big of a celebrity you think you are, Grand Theft Auto is bigger than you. I know that sounds insane, but look at just the pure sales figures of Grand Theft Auto. I believe the franchise is the biggest selling entertainment anything of all time. I could be wrong on that. I don't think I am. I remember reading something about that years ago. It's been a long time since I double checked that. But Grand Theft Auto's cultural impact cannot be understated. Which once again means, who else is going to be in this game? Not are there going to be other celebrities in this game? I think that is folly to even consider that. I think it is how many people are going to be showing up either as characters or as themselves. How many Instagram models? Are we going to get fucking Jake Paul showing up and you get to knock his ass out? Probably no one playing themselves in a situation where you can attack them because you don't want to open up possible liability stuff. But I'm sure you'll see some people in the background, at the very least, playing themselves. I have to wonder who all they're going to be reaching out for, though. Because, sorry, very, very dry here in this cold area. Because when it comes to Grand Theft Auto at this point, the sky's the limit. You can get anyone. You could get any number of people to show up in this game, and it would not surprise me at all. I'm about to cough one more time. Oh, the joys of doing this live. And I would not be surprised if everyone was bending over backwards to get into this. I wouldn't be surprised if you had publicists reaching out to Take-Two, from actors, musicians, to Instagram models, to hell, OnlyFans cam girls. Everyone wants... Could you imagine if you were like an OnlyFans cam girl that maybe had a couple million followers, you were big enough to be known, and you were able to get Grand Theft Auto? Or maybe some of the Twitch streamers, you know, the hot tub streamers like Amaranth or something like that. Or Pokimane or whatever her name. Could you imagine the money you would make just from being in Grand Theft Auto, even for like 30 seconds? They don't even have to pay you for it. The publicity alone would be enough to triple how many people are watching you. You look no further than when the Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer dropped and they used Tom Petty's song, Love is a Long Road, or whatever. I can't remember it's off the top of my head. But that Tom Petty song suddenly shot up massively. And that was just a trailer. Being in this game guarantees some level of success. It might not be much, but it will increase your profile. You could be super famous already, but it's going to get more exposure to people. Nothing, and I mean nothing, has the reach of Grand Theft Auto. So while T-Pain has confirmed he is in it, I doubt he is going to be the only one. And I don't even think it's going to be close to being the only one. I think you're going to get a massive rosters of celebrities cameoing either as themselves or voicing random characters in the game. But I fully expect this to be a huge cast of people that we all know. Or, in my case, people that I should know, but I'm just out of touch. So, what do you want to do? Let me know down below who you would like to see in the next Grand Theft Auto, by the way. I'm kind of curious to see what ideas people are going to come up with. Because my knowledge of celebrity is minor at this point. I used to be good at it. I used to be more involved in TV and pop culture, but these days, it's games or politics. But that's another category entirely different. Go ahead and move on to the next story before we, or just move on to the next story in general here. This via PC Gamer. This trademark dispute between Remedy and Take-Two brought to you by the letter R. Seems like Rockstar, or Take-Two rather, does not like Remedy's new logo. If you played Alan Wake 2, you would have seen this little faded, blurry R popping up on their opening splash screens. That's Remedy's new look. And Take-Two ain't too happy about it. They are actively going after Remedy's trademark application on this. Let's go to the article itself. One moment again. No idea why I'm coughing so much. Take-Two has filed an opposition to Remedy's trademark applications for a new logo, saying it looks too much like the Rockstar R. Back in April of 23, Remedy Entertainment unveiled a new logo stylized R. It said represented a fresh and refined look for the studio. But as discovered by Respawn First, Take-Two Interactive has filed an opposition to Remedy's trademark its application in the UK and EU, claiming a likelihood of confusion with the Rockstar logo. By the way, for those unaware, Rockstar is owned by Take-Two, and it would be Take-Two's legal department that would be going after Remedy. I'll get into my reasoning why this is happening here in a bit. Remedy filed for the new trademark with the EU Intellectual Property Office on April 13, 2023, one day ahead of its public announcement. It then filed with the UK's IPO a month later, on May 11th, and with the US Patent and Trademark Office on May 24th. Take-Two registered its opposition with the EU IPO on July 26, 2023, and the UK September 12th. The US PTO currently does not indicate whether any opposition has been filed. that the trademark application is, quote, currently awaiting assignment to an examining attorney. The text of Take-Two's opposition filing of the U.S. Intellectual Property Office's website claims a likelihood of confusion or unfair advantage detriment to distinctiveness or repute. It doesn't reference Rockstar specifically, but an image of the logo is included with a separate file in the image of the claim. So Take-Two is saying that the Rockstar logo on the right is too much alike Remedy's blurry R on the left. Ridiculous, right? They clearly don't look like each other. And Rockstar or Take-Two does not own the fucking letter R. But this is why I bring in some of the peculiarities of trademark and copyright law. I am not a lawyer. I could get some of this wrong, but from what I understand is that if a company does not aggressively protect their trademarks, they lose them. Other people can kind of start pushing the envelope more and more and more. Is this another Apple and Pell situation? It's not so much an Apple and Pear situation as much as it is there's Apple, the software and hardware company that we know that makes makers of iPhone. They were constantly sued by Yoko Ono and John Lennon's estate over their Apple Corporation. So, and their logos are it's just an apple, but one has like a bite taken out of it. So this is not only this is not only common, but has been going on for decades when it comes to trademark and copyright law. Companies sue each other all the time. Now, what makes this specifically unique is that Remedy and Rockstar are in agreement to remaster Max Payne. So you have a situation where Remedy and Rockstar are working together on a game where Rockstar's parent company is also suing Remedy. And this is where some of the corporate bloat and behemoth size of Take-Two comes into play. These filings were filed in Europe. It doesn't seem like the US Patent Office has any filings on it yet. So what you're seeing is an arm of a legal branch of a massive multinational corporation doing something that the other arm of the same corporation has no idea what's going on. Because legal is usually its own separate thing. They work independently often from everyone else. And that is why you'll see some weird, stupid thing come out and then immediately get dropped or changed or something like that because they didn't clear it through the legal department first. Because they're separate. They do entirely separate functions throughout the company. So everyone working at Rockstar and even directly above them at Take-Two could have been fine with things going on. And then someone in legal went, oh, no, this is bad, and then filed these claims completely independent of any other actions the other part of the company. It's really a unified front. Will this get resolved? I think so. There's about a year cooling down period when this stuff happens in Europe, and they might have to take that entire year. I doubt Remedy will have to change their logo at all. But once again, the reason why these seemingly spurious claims are filed is because, at least in America, and once again, I'm not a copyright lawyer, if you don't defend your trademark, you're liable to lose it. Which is why companies go after even the most minute of things. That said, this is a little aggressive, even from Rockstar. Rockstar is extremely forward when it comes to going after what they see as perceived threats to copyright and trademark. You can go look up a podcast from Richard Hogue. The link is provided further down in this article. By the way, follow that man on Twitter when it comes to legalese. He is a lawyer that specializes in this stuff, and he knows video games as well. So it's always nice to kind of have someone who has a big legal background who also plays video games. So he can kind of relate things better than I definitely can. But Rockstar is known to be very forward when it comes to lawsuits to protect their property, but this is even a little bit more extreme than normal. They're also not the only company that goes nuts with this stuff. Monster Energy Drink, for example, is a notorious troll when it comes to copyright. There's a reason why that. Remember that Ubisoft game Immortals Phoenix Rising? Well, it really wasn't called that. Originally, it was called Gods and Monsters. And fucking Monster Energy Drink sued them over because of the word monster. because Monster Energy Drink says they have a claim to the word monster. Ubisoft ended up changing that name because at the end of the day, while they might have been able to fight off that legal claim, it costs a lot of money because Monster is big enough to actually push them around. They can go, well, we don't care if we're in the right or not, if it's legal or not. We can tie you up in court for 5, 6, 7 years. How long do you want to pay your lawyer? Change your goddamn name. Is it right? No. Is it how the system works? Absolutely. And at the end of the day, you're going to have companies go, fine. And whoever is the smaller company tends to capitulate. In this case, however, given that Remedy is actively working with Rockstar, Rockstar is owned by Take-Two, I'm sure they can take the next year or so to figure out a solution to this little pickle they find themselves in. But at the end of the day, I think we can all look at this and go, Rockstar / Take-Two do not own the fucking little R. Kiss my ass. Will the court decide that? Yeah, probably, actually. After how many years of litigation? After how much in lawyers' fees? That is, unfortunately, one of the realities of the system, is that Megacorp can easily bury someone in paperwork, even if they know they're going to lose. And it happens all the time. Will it happen here? I doubt it. But don't be surprised when you see companies suing each other over things that are just clearly frivolous or bullshit, because they know they don't have to win. They just have to be enough of a nuisance to make you bend the knee. Moving on to the next story here. We might know a little bit more about that Indiana Jones game that I'm sure we'll get more details on the 18th at Xbox's Developer Direct. This here is via Curacasis on X. Forgive me if I'm mispronouncing that name. But they seem to have uncovered some information on Bethesda's upcoming Indiana Jones name, namely the name. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle seems to be what the game is going to be called, and that seems generic as hell, but I'm willing to go with it. I've played some great Indiana Jones games in the past, and I trust machine games. Now, how they found this was essentially going through a bunch of registered domains. As you can see here from the post on X, says the following. Lucasfilm registered several domains on January 9th, 2024 with that title, such as Indiana Jones and the Great Circle Game.com, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle.com, Indiana Jones, the Great Circle.com, in various formatting and spellings. They also filed for a trademark in Europe 2 years ago for the Great Circle with goods and services for video games. And yes, they include mobile, possibly because these games can be played via streaming services on phones, or for some legal reasons I don't know much about. Notably, Cyberpunk 2077 and most PC console games list mobile in goods and services. That I didn't know. And then also show some other registered domains on there. Indiana Jones, Great Circle, GreatCircle.net, GreatCircle.usa, all that good stuff. So it is very likely that the Indiana Jones game is going to be Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, or some variation of that theme. We'll definitely know more come the Xbox Developer Direct on Thursday, January 18th, which I will be live streaming here. So if you want to come on by and watch that with me, you're more than welcome to do so. Next topic, as we go down to Video Game Chronicle. Square Enix confirmed Foamstars contains some AI-generated art. So it begins. Now, it's not much, but I'll get into what I mean by that here in a moment. Let's turn to the article itself. Square Enix has confirmed its upcoming PlayStation shooter Foamstars contains some AI-generated art. The Final Fantasy publisher president recently said in a New Year's letter that it's intended to be aggressive in applying AI in its future game development. Square Enix has previously used AI for things like improving facial animation and camera angles in Final Fantasy VII Remake. Important to note, this is different than using AI to shore up some textures. They are using AI to just create art for the game. Go back to the article. At a recent press event, VGC asked Foamstar producers Kosuke Okatani if AI was used in early elements of the game, and he confirmed that it had. Okatani claimed that while the vast majority of the game was built by hand, it used Midjourney, a popular generative AI tool that transforms text prompts into visual art to create smaller numbers of art for in-game icons. The assets in question are said to be related to in-game album covers of the game's music tracks. He ended up saying the following. All of the core elements of Foamstars, the core gameplay, the things that make the game enjoyable, those were all made by hand. However, we did want to experiment with AI as well. In terms of content in the game, this makes it about 0.01% or even less. We have dabbled in it by creating these icons in the game. That is only the start. This is where it begins. Soon you'll be having more and more assets created by AI. AI is here. I know a lot of people are trying to ban it. I know a lot of voice actors and actors are actively against it. More on that in the next story. I don't care much for it myself, but it's here. And for people saying, oh, we can look at AI and tell the difference, yeah, for now. What about 5 years from now? Now, what about 2 years? This is only the beginning. The tech is here, and you can either embrace it and learn to work with it, or fight against it and be replaced by it. Because you're not putting the genie back in the bottle. Companies are not going to regulate it. That time is come and gone. No one country is going to get left behind on this. Because if the US regulates it, China sure as hell isn't. We are at an impasse where people need to start realizing that doing art as a job is going to quickly come to an end for many, many people. There will still be demand for human-made art, quote unquote. Human-made. It'll become a niche product. I might not like that. I know I don't. You might not like that. But that is the reality of the situation. It is going to eat this industry alive. You are already seeing mass waves of layoffs happening right now. The economy has been going down bitter. Just wait till these companies realize they don't even need artists. And I can hear it right now. AI will never be as good as human art. Humans can create, well, as AI just rips off. Sure, okay, cool. And technology improves. Technology will get better. It will come to a point where it will be indistinguishable from humans. I know there are some lawsuits going on right now about people saying, this ripped off my voice, or blah, 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 blah. Insert right over here. Or it steals already made material and goes from there. Okay, cool. Prove it. It's not as easy as you might think. And I know I'm sounding like I'm being confrontational here because I'm trying to hammer the point across that you need to accept that this is happening. Like I've said a couple times, I don't like it. I actively hate it. But I am also not in denial of the reality that this is here. That you're going to see art teams getting whittled down more and more. Yes, it is only 0.01% of the game. Then some studio somewhere else is going to make it 1% of the game. Then another studio somewhere else is going to be 10%, along with some also computer-generated voice lines just to have in the background. Don't worry, the main characters are still going to be voiced by humans, but that guy walking around saying, hey, buy my goods, that might be AI. And then someone else is going to go, hey, all of our art is pre-generated because I'm a small little guy and this is my only game and I need the resources to do that. And I might have used a little bit of in-game dialogue as well to fill things out a little bit. And then a bigger company is going to go on and go, hey, we have this better version of AI that can actually replicate human emotion, the human tone and emotion more than finding voice. But it's only going to be the main character. That way you can type your name in like they did in Fallout, and rather than having someone read 100,000 names, it just runs with your name. Hey, we made a game where you can actually type in the responses, and it's going to say them out to the character right there, and they're going to respond back, because AI can do that. And then before you know it, in 5 to 10 years, or likely less, all but a skeleton crew of developers are going to be working on it. And it's all going to be run by AI. And then a little bit longer after that, just AI. At which point, the publishers are fucked. Because then I just open up Midjourney 5.0 and Chatbot Supreme and the 15 other different programs that Microsoft has probably made and you're paying the license for, and I go, build me a video game world where I can be Master Chief fighting dragons, and set it to M for mature, nudity, only partial, swearing as much as you can think of, gore, keep it on the lower end. I want it to be an anime style, but I want it to be a Western world RPG. And it's going to say loading, now generating your world, give it an hour, which that time will decrease over time as well. And then custom made video game, right on your desktop. Now, I know that sounds insane, right? I get it. Because people look at what's being generated right now. They look at the weird stilted voice recreations of famous celebrities that you can kind of tell are off. But they're even better today than they were 6 months ago. Or the art where the hand is like backwards, or it drew like 2 left feet. But those art pictures are getting better today than they were even. It's here. And we need to start working, like I said, either work with it or be swept aside by it. Because 0.01% is only the tip of the iceberg. It is going to get progressively more used throughout the I was trying to find a significantly ominous term, but nothing was coming to mind. Let me know what you guys think on this topic of AI here. I know many of you are against it. I know a lot of you are looking forward to it. I think I've made my point clear. It sucks. I don't like it. It's going to cost a lot of jobs. But there's also no putting. And for a lot of people out there saying we need to boycott companies that use AI, congratulations. Point to me one successful video game boycott on either side of the aisle. May I point to you the Call of Duty meme where everyone was like, we're going to boycott Call of Duty until they bring back dedicated servers list on Steam. And it was all these people who signed. And the day that game came out, they were all playing it. Boycotts are almost always doomed to fail. It's just the long and the short of it, because at the end of the day, what you care about is not what most people care about. Apply that to anything, by the way. You can take the principal stand. I don't mind taking principal stands. I take many of them myself. There are many companies I don't patronage. There are many places I don't buy from. There are many games I don't support. But I also know that me not buying them isn't going to prevent them from being successful or not. Decision I make for myself. And just to show you that it's not going to stop here, go to IGN for the next article. Video game voice actors express worry and confusion after SAG-AFTRA deal with AI studios. Today, the Screen Actors Guild, the American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, announced a deal with AI technology that comes from Replica Studios regarding the licensure and use of AI digital replicas of actors' voices in video games. But not all the impacted voice actors are happy about it. The deal, per a statement by SAG-AFTRA, will enable Replica to engage SAG-AFTRA members under a fair, ethical agreement to safely create and license digital replica of their voice. Licensed voices can be used in video game development and other interactive media projects from pre-production to final release. It apparently includes minimum terms and conditions, as well as requirements for formal consent and the ability to opt out of ongoing use of a digital voice double. While the Guild is lauding the deal as groundbreaking, a number of voice actors have taken to social media today to express concern, anger, and confusion regarding the deal. Many point out a number of SAG-AFTRA voice actors don't want companies to be able to make AI doubles of their voices at all, regardless of the terms. Others upset the deal was apparently made without wider communication to the union members at large, with many voice actors stating that they felt they had no voice in the final decision and were not aware of the deal's terms. While the press release states the deal was, quote, approved and affected members of the Union Voiceover Performer Committee, end quote, many said they were blindsided by it. Yeah, SAG-AFTRA, the union essentially cut a deal selling out a bunch of voice actors, because many of the big ones, names you would recognize, are here on X talking about how, like, we didn't hear shit about this. Understandably so. Because SAG-AFTRA as a union knows who butters their bread at the end. This is one of those cases where they sold out their constituents 100%. Because they know the tech is here, and they know that if they work with them a little bit, these people will have jobs for a little bit longer. I hate to say, I know a couple voice actors. I'm very friendly with a few of them. This sucks. But all it takes is a small handful of people who can even say, hey, I don't even need SAG-AFTRA for this. Use my voice all you want and pay me a pittance because I'm not a big voice actor anyways, and this is going to be my shot to at least make something. And they're going to use those voices and modulate them and change them up just enough where you can have one character sound like 100 of them. And then these people come replaceable cogs. I know that sounds harsh. I cannot stress enough. I am not saying that these people are bad at their jobs. What I am saying is that everyone is blinded by the state of the tech it is in now, not thinking the state it's going to be in 5 years from now. Nothing starts off perfect. And it will improve. And this is SAG-AFTRA trying to get ahead of that issue by selling out their own. And that is the long and the short of it. I am telling you, be ready for this, because that time is nigh. We're here. It is going to suck. Brace for it. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. Moving on. The Video Game Chronicle again here. Audio firm publishes PR claim Switch 2 will release in September. Later claims it was guessed. That's right. So many of you might know the headphone maker Techland. Well, they released a press release last week that Nintendo's next gaming console will probably be coming in September. Go to the article itself. An audio electronics company claimed in a press release on Thursday that Nintendo's next console will be released in September, only to later claim it was guessing. Techland, the maker of speakers and headphones founded in 1927, announced that it had secured the license to provide the classic gaming cheat software GameShark known as AI Shark, because everything needs to have AI in it. God damn it. The PR quickly garnered attention for reasons other than its software, however, thanks to a prominent claim on Nintendo's next console launch. According to Alltech, the official launch of AI Shark is planned to coincide with the Nintendo Switch 2 in September 2024. However, later, a spokesperson for AI Shark later walked back on the PR and claimed it was guessing about the release window. Bullshit. We know for a fact that Switch 2 kits are out in the hands of developers right now, and many partners as well, so they can develop accessories, cases, headphones, etc. for it. We know that there is a tentative date out there, so if people who are making the games can actually have shit ready to go, and accessories ready to go when it launches. Techland fucked up. And now they're saying, oh, we're just guessing it's in September to cover their asses legally. Now, Nintendo, they've been known to spite a motherfucker. If I recall, they've canceled a movie because the details of it got leaked. So they might push it back to like October or push it up to August. But September, I can promise you September is when it was originally dated for, when Techland started making these. They weren't guessing. They knew. In my opinion, to be fair, they are denying that they did. But come on. So for those of you looking to buy a new Switch, or a Switch rather, and don't have one yet, you might want to wait a little bit, because if the Switch 2, whatever it's going to be called, is dropping in September, you can expect details on what's going to be in it, I would say as early as February. Give it about a good 6-month window there before it actually comes out. Rumor is it's supposed to be $100 more, so that might influence your decision, but the current Switch might drop significantly in price. So if you're in that holding pattern and thinking of finally buying a Switch because you don't have one yet, wait a couple months. See how things shake out. Moving on to the next topic here, Stalker 2 gets delayed again, but with an actual date now. Dear Stalkers, last year during Gamescom 2023, we finally have a chance to meet in person. We gathered around the campfire for you to share something valuable we've been creating for all these years, a small part of Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl, publicly for the first time ever. this goes on and on and on for quite a bit, talking about how, hey, we're delaying the game, a lot of stuff still in there. The important part is this bold bit right down here. There we go. While there's absolutely no way to make another delay sound less dim, we decided to be clear about our reasons to postpone the game for the sake of yet another wave of polishing, which is great. This is what part of this goes into. The important part here. The final release date for Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl is now September 5th, 2024. I think that's the first time they've given an actual physical date. I know I have gone off on games in the past that keep getting delayed over and over and over again. Cyberpunk is one of them. A company announces a date, then pushes it back. Then announces a date, then pushes it back. You can only do that 2 or 3 times before I start getting okay. Before I get a little rowdy about it, saying it's time for you to shit or get off the pot. GCS Games World, which I believe are the studio that makes Stalker. Or GSC, rather. They get a pass. Because they're based out of Ukraine, a country that is literally on fire and has been for a while now. When your home country gets invaded, you could take as many delays as you want. Hell, I think there are even people that were working on this game that signed up to be part of the Ukrainian Defense Force and have died in action. So when it comes to this game and delays, take as many of them as you want. You've earned that right. You get to actually say, hey, sorry, the fucking Russians invaded. What are you going to do? I believe they have since relocated to other parts of the world at this point. So they should probably hit that September 5th date. But if it gets delayed again, more power to you. Take as long as you need, because once again, your country is a fucking war zone. So you get a pass on you can even say the game's canceled. You get a pass. Totally understandable. Hope to see it with whatever you're making next. So yeah, Stalker 2 delayed again, but does get a date. Other news here, we go back to X for Moruo NL saying that Tencent has become the majority shareholder of Dying Light. Sorry. Let me start over. I'm getting things mixed up because I'm also reading notes and this at the same time. In July 2023, Tencent became the majority shareholder of Dying Light developer Techland. This transaction is estimated to have been 1.6 billion according to a new Polish estimate. So that link will take you to a Polish version of the press release. They're just now announcing it, it seems. This is one of those cases where it's been a while since we've heard of any acquisitions from Tencent, so I wanted to bring this one up, although it did happen about 6 to 7 months, longer than 6 to 7 months, about 8 or 9 months ago. Still important to mention that Tencent, despite all of its weird little troubles that have been going on in China and the general economic malaise of the globe at this point in time, are still actively buying companies. As I've said multiple times, you are right to fear Tencent. Another business news, we go to gamesindustry.biz for this one. Lost Boys Interactive is the latest Embracer Group studio to suffer layoffs. The sizable portion of the developer has been let go. To the article. An unknown number of employees have been laid off at Gearbox-owned developer Lost Boys Interactive. On Friday, former producer Gerald Pace shared the news on LinkedIn that a sizable portion of the employees were let go. It seems a sizable portion of Lost Boy Interactive was laid off today, including myself, Pace wrote. Still trying to understand the scope of it all, but sadly, this is a song and dance we're all familiar with. Pace said the layoffs were widespread and affected all disciplines at all levels. Now, the thing about Lost Boys Interactive specifically is that they were a support studio for Gearbox, an outside support studio for Gearbox, working on Borderlands 3, 1018, and Wonderlands, that were eventually gobbled up by Gearbox in 2022, doubling the size of that studio. And then, 2 years later, they get the axe. Another one of those cases where a studio gets bought, they sit on the staff for a year, just to kind of, I think, possibly keep some legal ramifications down, and then axe the studio. The layoffs are going to continue, and my prediction for 2024 is that there are going to be more this year than there were last year. It's going to get bad, and it's not just Gearbox. Gearbox, by the way, owned by Embracer. Embracer, infamously for having that Saudi Arabian investment going bust last year, has been going through massive layoffs. So it makes sense that they would be next up on the chopping block. I have to wonder if Randy Pitchford, who got a promotion but is still overseeing Gearbox, was told you need to lay off X number of employees, period. Not you need to lay off a certain number from Lost Boys Interactive, but you just need to lay off a certain number from people that are underneath you. And he chose Lost Boy Interactive employees because he doesn't know them as well as people who've worked at Gearbox for years and years. Don't know. That would have to be a question for him directly, and I don't think he really talks to the press all that much anymore, given some of his interactions. One final article here before we wrap things up, and it's another depressor. To The Verge, Discord is laying off 17% of its employees. While not necessarily a gaming publisher, Discord is widely used by the gaming community for many online multiplayer games, because it's just the best chat program out there right now. To the article, Discord is laying off 17% of its staff, a move that CEO Jason Sightron that CEO Jason said is meant to sharpen our focus and improve the way we work together to bring more agility to our organization. The cuts were announced Thursday to employees at an all-hands meeting, an internal memo I've obtained. They impact 170 people across various departments. Based on Citron's message to employees and my understanding of the business, Discord isn't in dire financial straits, though it has yet to become profitable and is still trying to revive user growth after a surge during the pandemic. That there is the important part, especially when spread out of all tech. A lot of tech is not profitable. Twitch, for example, which underwent massive layoffs, is not profitable. As far as I can tell, YouTube is not profitable. Tech is in a real bad spot right now when it comes to profitability. Now, I can hear people screaming, but they post record earnings every year, and their CEOs are paid massive amounts, and they get golden parachutes when they fuck up, and blah, 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 blah. Tech runs on the promise of future profit, not profit itself. Google is very profitable, not because of YouTube, but because of AdSense. Amazon is not profitable because of Twitch, but because of their massive shipping. Microsoft is not profitable because of Game Pass, but because of all the other shit they made. These mega corporations have the leeway to create something that costs them significant money to run at a loss for many, many years, hoping to make a profit. Because they see the potential in turning it around 10 years from now, and then 10 years after that being the only game in town running. It's all speculative. However, the problem with speculation is that the appetite for risk for it, starts going away when the economy goes into a downturn like we're facing. That starts happening, the fat starts getting lopped off. And yes, it seems distasteful to refer to 170 people who have just lost their jobs as fat. But the long and the short of it is, Discord is a service that many people use for not paying a single dime on it, backed by a company that has no profit in it, requiring angel investors to keep it afloat on the promise of a high rate of return later down the road. These angel investors can typically afford to throw some money at things, but when the economic conditions are tightened, those bets that they're placing become a little more restrained, which means Discord isn't getting in as much money as they once were, which means that in order to stay open, cuts must be made. And love it or hate it, one of the biggest expenses a company has is overhead, staff count. And as we have seen with Elon Musk's takeover of X, you can easily fire 75% of your bloated company and still operate reasonably well. Now, I know X has a lot of problems, but it's still running. The fact of the matter is, a lot of these tech companies are significantly overweight. And it sounds heartless to say that they can easily purge 100, 200,000, 10,000 in the case of Amazon overnight. But they can, and they will. And it's not because of some evil CEO. It's not because of someone sitting back going, I want to ruin someone's day. There's a lot of cold calculation that goes into this, sure. But tech exploded when the lockdowns hit and everyone was forced home. And they had to hire a whole bunch of people to make up for that, run all that. Lockdowns are gone. Not only are lockdowns gone, but the economy is going down. So all those people they had to hire to make up to make up all the work for all those customers coming in, well, all those customers have left. So those people are now redundant. It sucks. I hate the idea of talking about people like they're disposable commodities, but at the end of the day, when it's business, that is how it works. Now, you can say that means there should be no big businesses, and that's a conversation for another time. But we have become, as a society, used to free shit online. We go to YouTube for free. Many games out there are free. Many places to watch TV are free. Our news is free. Our social media is free. Our Vines, our Instagrams, our TikToks are free. Where is that profit coming from? Places try to do ads, people freak the fuck out. I'm one of them. I have ad block on everything, and I'm pissed off that YouTube's running slow because of some ad block shit. I'll find ways to fight back against ads. But we really have become used to things being free. It means a company has to make money somewhere. And a lot of those companies haven't figured out how to make that money yet. Discord being. So, Discord's face of the choice. Fire people or shut down. Now, once again, I hear some of you screaming, well, the CEO should have to take a pay cut. Evil, greedy capitalism. CEO could be working for free. It ain't going to be enough. Just how it is. Sorry. Do I think that there is some runaway budgets and pay for CEOs? Absolutely. If I'm a shareholder sitting in a company, I ain't gonna fucking pay someone $180 million a year to run a I don't know, active insert your company here, because no one person is worth that. But they are allowed to do so. I'm not going to say there should be any government regulation coming in to fix pay or anything like that either. The company is allowed to make the mistakes, much like you're allowed to work for that company. And if you see them making mistakes, move. I know that is blunt. I know that is hard to say when we are moving weird financial times, but that is the situation. Be aware of your surroundings. If you're working for a company and you see other like companies doing layoffs, and then you notice that your company stops having Donut Tuesday and they're no longer doing the free massages on Thursday, perhaps start working a little bit harder to set yourself out above everyone else. Perhaps get your resumes in order. Because no, regardless of where you are working at right now, it is going to I every week I have to talk about the layoffs. Every week. Because every week there are more. And we're not at the end of it. Anyways, that's enough of that rant. I was just kind of getting tired of the whole, well, it's all the CEO fault, blah 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 blah. Yeah, they absolutely hold some culpability. I'm not trying to stand CEOs here, but you can have the most kind-hearted individual running that company, and this is still probably going to be. Do not get caught unprepared, because that's what a lot of that bitching sounds like. Is a lot of people getting caught unprepared, thinking that the gravy train was going to be going on for as long as they lived, and it's not. So please be ready for what is coming. Well, that does it for the news, which does it for the show as well. This has been GamePoints 383, and thank you all for showing up on this totally not depressing episode about AI taking over people's jobs and the economic situation and a bunch of people getting fired. Trust me, I wish I had better things to talk about, but that is the news right now. It is going to be that is how it's going to be for the next 6 months minimum, if not longer. But thank you all for showing up anyways. I do appreciate it. I do show this podcast every 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time right here at Twitch TV/GamePoints. So come on by and let me know what your opinions are on these topics. Also, feel free to comment down below if you can't watch this live, be it at YouTube, Rumble, BitChute, wherever you're watching this. You can follow me over on X at CapitalistPig21. You can join our Discord, link provided down there, where I also put all the links to the stories we talked about today. And I stream throughout the week various games. Strategy games, horror games, sim games. We'll also do events as well. We're going to be doing that Xbox Developer Direct on Thursday when that drops, come the Pacific Standard Time, I think 12. I'll double check that as we get closer. But other than all that, if you like what you saw here, what to do, like, spits, follow, subs, shares, all that good stuff, and I will see you next time. My voice is very dry. Donald.